So we talked about being an encourager to the singers when we want to practice with them, and also just encouraging them to pick a song that's suitable for their voice. And just the bottom line, keep encouraging them. And then we're going to move on to practice tips. And I think we've hit on one that's very popular, and that's finding time to practice. So what were you just sharing with me?
So if you're accompanying for a group, small group, it could even be a trio. I guess an appropriate time, because everybody there is usually, you come early before church or Sunday school, or you stay after church in the morning, or you stay after church on Sunday nights, because if you have choir practice on Sunday nights, sometimes I've even done coming early before choir practice, or Wednesday nights. I think Sunday night is my least liked time, because you've been at church most of the day and you really want to get home, have your snacks. So trying to round up, sometimes I'll even say to the people, can we practice right after the service is over? But that's such a social time. So I literally sat down to the piano sometimes and just started playing the song,
I did the same thing.
loud, to try to get everybody
the certain
there.
song they're getting ready to practice, yeah.
Yes.
Play that, like hint, hint.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind coming early in the
Right.
morning or before service. After service is sometimes difficult, but to do an extra day probably is harder for most people, because it's just another time out, and we all would rather do it while we're there, which is fine. But yeah, it's just getting everybody rounded up. So I think if you're like in charge of a group and you feel like you have the freedom to say so, maybe just have a little chat with the members of the group and say, it's real important. It would just be very, very nice if we could all just get here, get started right after, and then go home at a reasonable time, and then you can do your socializing.
Yeah, we're older, so I think the younger pianists probably feel the same way at times. Because we practice, we're trying to find those little pockets of time where we can practice. So I don't know for you, but we usually get to Sunday school about a quarter till it starts, and that seems to be a good time, just 15 minutes before Sunday school, back in the practice room. So, and that's another point, where you practice. I mean, sometimes I practice in the auditorium. I don't know.
If it's early enough.
Yeah, where there's not a lot of people. But the more people, they're going to want to go off into another room to practice, and that works out better, don't you think? They can focus more. And another thing, people aren't interrupting you.
Oh, goodness.
Have you had that happen? When you're practicing, even with a group, when I'm practicing, and then somebody will come and be talking to one of them, and it just kind of, messes up the whole practice there.
I think for any group, somebody needs to be in charge. Unless you've got, now if you're the lady accompanying like a men's quartet, get one of those men to be in charge. So every group has to have somebody to call the shots. So if you're like the woman accompanist, you can go to one of the men and say, I really need to, like after a service of when we practice, we need to get right to it. Could you help everybody else understand that this is important?
I've never done that, but I'm going to start doing that.
My husband would usually, he was kind of in charge of the men's quartet at where we were previously, and I was kind of in charge of just getting the ladies together, picking out a song of the ladies group that we had. So just, I think up front, in anything that we do, just to make, if you want to say the rules or the parameters of the group, just make that known, and so things will go so much easier.
I agree.
I think one of the worst times to practice is between Sunday school and church.
I know, there's too much going on.
Oh, goodness. But that's all we had at our former church, previous church, to go over the choir thing. So I just bolt out of the nursery and try to get in there at 15 minutes after, when I'm supposed to start playing at 20 after.
And there's always the Sunday school teachers that maybe go over.
Oh,
So you're trying to work with that too.
yeah.
I know it's a trick sometimes trying to have enough time to even practice the choir number for that morning.
So just to be careful, anytime you have to rehearse, it's not always convenient. There are going to be inconveniences, and then we just have to remind ourselves that we're serving.
Amen.
But just maybe laying down some ground rules or specifics about practice in the group right at the beginning. Or if you're already in a group, take a break. At your next meeting, say, can we talk about punctuality and maybe rescheduling or something. But just not to let the devil get a foothold when we feel like we're pressed for time, or somebody's coming to ask us to practice again, and you think, oh, we have practiced this song so many times. I'm just sharing what I've thought.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not know this song by now? And it can make me kind of disgruntled, have to stay again or have to come early again. But they're just wanting to be confident that God can use them, and we really, as accompanists, we are just servants.